Oh, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of RJ's Game Builder Garage video things, where I go into Game Builder Garage, bring some games that I've made in real life into Game Builder Garage, and today we're returning back to Visualized. If you don't know, it's a game that I started working on with a friend that we have a prototype out for. You can actually go download it for PC and Mac and Linux, like in the description, so yeah. But anyways, so I've been trying to bring it to Game Builder Garage, kind of a very limited version. You know, basically get the point across in a somewhat effective way. And although it's been going pretty well so far, there are a few issues that I've had to get fixed, like the fact that the scrolling terrain is not really working out in the context of Game Builder Garage, and yeah, as it stands, that's kind of where we are. We've also got to get the title screen in. Last time I did this, I did put in the I put in the pause menu, so now it's time for the title screen and maybe the game over screen. But yeah, let's kind of get right into it. Now, before we do, I'd actually like to feature a game that was suggested by a commenter on a video that I did a while back. It was one of my actual last showcases, and it was a game that I meant to feature in the tier list video, but I couldn't because the code was broken. But just this week I ended up with another comment consisting of an actually working code for the game, so we're now going to feature it, and that game is Spamton Sumthin. Now I've played it for a couple minutes and I quite like it. It uses nice imported graphics from actual Deltarune by the looks of things, and yeah, it is 2D and kind of is pretty good for something in 2D, which is, like I've hinted at with all this visualized stuff, is a little hard to get to work. But yeah, it's pretty nice. It's got a nice bit of replay value. It's got a nice simple concept. You just dodge blocks and collect Chromer, and then collect enough, you get a Chromer bomb, instant immunity. Unfortunately, I kind of suck at it, so I was like, I mostly got myself like halfway there, but then again, I was only playing for a couple minutes, but I might return to it, probably after I get done filming this. But yeah, in my case of reviewing it, 10 out of 10, instant. Yeah. Alright, so here we are back in Visualized. So yeah, this is the real Visualized as it runs, and we're not going to have the settings menu or this comments button because of course you can't do external links in Game Builder Garage. Won't have a shop, but we will have the play button, and yeah. But yeah, I'm going to have a bit of a title screen for this one, and that's where we're going to focus on today. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so in the last video, or more importantly, live stream, we got pretty far. As you may notice, the pause menu has been moved to the, to basically where it is kind of in the real game, and it's kind of close to the actual game itself. If I can just pull that one up here, it's pretty similar. Let me just get to it, if I can show it. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty similar to normal. So yeah, it's gonna be a very good. It'll be very good when we get the visuals imported, which will probably be in a couple episodes from now. But anyways, so where we are with it is that now that we've got a pause menu that works pretty effectively at its job, we need to get a bit of a title screen in because, well, you know, wouldn't it be an authentic bit of it wouldn't be an authentic game if it didn't have, let me get back in there, it wouldn't be an authentic copy of Visualized or version of it if it didn't have a title screen like this. Big challenge though, we're probably gonna have another kind of scrolling-ish block, kind of like how it is in the real game, or in how it is with the when you do stuff like that. But yeah, so unfortunately this is going to be like really cut down, so like it might even make this title screen like pointless. Like all you this comments button, this shop button, and maybe this settings button might get cut out, because we'll have to see where we are with the note on limit. But otherwise, yeah, this comments button I can't really have because this goes to Google Forms, and this is where, if you were playing on PC, this is where you'd go to tell us what you found good and bad about this game and give us your overall review of it. The shop, we could probably implement it, but there's a lot of items that that we've put in here. So there's like 10 items on episode 3, I believe. We really can't have these 4 characters because we have animations going on here, and doing stuff like this would kind of interfere with the animation. As I found out, there are only you can only have 8 things happening. You can only have 8 frames. You can only have 8 textures connected to these characters for animation purposes. So that's going to be a problem when we get these visuals and sprites imported. I'm going to have to get a select few from the source code and import those, and it's going to be a bit of a painstaking process. I'm probably not going to film the entirety of, but yeah, so this is kind of where we are with that. So let's get back into Game Builder Garage here and get prepared for that stuff and do what we must, because we can. Because yeah, we've also got to continue trying to fix up the issue with these moving boxes, because if you remember from every time I've played it with my best version of the moving box infinity box physic thing, you'll know that it has a problem after about 250 to 500 quote-unquote meters of movement. So it starts breaking itself, and then it turns weird because something's happening all the way down in this area for some reason, and we've got to kind of bug fix that a bit. And once we do, we've got to work on the sky, which is going to be a problem. But I'm going to take a break from that and try and fix it on my own terms, because this is a bit of a complex thing. So let's get into the stuff that can be done easily. So yeah, there we go. So here we are with our game screen. Now, what we have put in for the pause menu is a thing to tell it to stop. As you can see, it's not stopping here because, again, weird physics being what it is. We've got to fix that eventually. In fact, and yeah, but yeah, so we're gonna probably tie the movement flags to having the title screen as well, so it defaults to being off. Currently, the flag on is at a constant of 1 because we haven't implemented it yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I like to call the slight pro gamer move, and logic gate trickery is more of what I call it. So we have our not gate here, and we have our flag. So if our flag is not up, actually that might be a very bad idea. So I'm gonna have a new flag here. Alright, so camera did a few weird things, but yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make this constant. We're gonna have this constant where it'll only pulse a little, and we're gonna use that one node on, I forget what it's called, but if I remember right, yeah, trigger from 0. So yeah, that'll make sure it flashes on when it's there. So this way this constant isn't always a constant. And yeah, there we go, we've modded that. And now all we've got to do is just get the menu built. And the other thing is that we've got to make sure that when the flag is on, we multiply our game screen's Y position by, I'm gonna say 10. And yeah, so this way when we get to title screen, it's actually in the title screen area, so this way we can show the title screen. It's a bit funny how the title screen, which is the first thing you're going to see when you play this game, is literally above the actual game itself. But I guess it checks out for the fact that you kind of have to do a bit of structural engineering to get things like this to work. And there you go. So that's kind of half of the title screen done. The next thing we've got to do before we get into building the menu is we've got to tell all this code for the title screen. We've got to tell it to not show up when you press B, because then you'll have the title screen showing up when you start playing the game, and who knows what you're going to do with the menus. So we need to kind of think with that kind of logic in check. So what I'm going to do is to stop the B button from being involved is we are going to have the flag, we're going to have the B button connect to an AND gate with an AND and a NOT gate combined, I think. And NOT. So there we go. So this way, when we go into the title screen, it will let us basically not press B. So there we go. So we're not in the title screen. Let's get to that flag, and there we go. And we'll just put that with the AND gate that defines that we're going to press B. So now, if I press B, well, I don't have anything to test it with because I haven't built the menu yet. Now, this kind of brings us to the one challenge that Visualized kind of has. Now, in the actual Visualized, the controller implementation that I wrote for Visualized, it's designed for the Switch Pro controller, and it effectively is almost like the Steam implementation of controller support, where it uses your left stick as a mouse. I've tried to do that, and it didn't really check out right. So yeah. So trying to get this, trying to get the left stick to work as a mouse with Game Builder Garage is probably not going to be the easiest thing ever. The only way I can envision it is maybe if I did something with a UFO where I had an invisible UFO that was flying right, up, down, left. You know, you could just tie the y-axis to go up and down, and then maybe this left and right. But that might be a bit of a hard thing to really program in, because, you know, it's not that easy. Also, the UFOs actually make sounds in Game Builder Garage, so that might be a problem. I might try it with a moving block, kind of like I have been, or moving object, like I have the rest of the game, like these boxes here. I might try that, but yeah, we'll have to see how things work out, because unfortunately with them being moving objects, they will obviously want to fall, and anti-gravity will just knock them off of their course. But for now, what I will do is I will create a texture that's not going to be the final texture. I'm probably going to import from the actual source code the original texture that we had for the original Game Builder Garage version, or the original version of the game. If I can find the textures, this should be under special objects, that's right. I'm just going to create kind of basic pointer kind of thing. I can't really use the mouse support of this game, but I can just use, but I can go ahead and use a lot of other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a simple mouse cursor, you know, simple little arrow. Come on, get down there. I just hate it because all the mice I have are already used up, and so I can't really plug one into my Switch at this point. So I'm just gonna make a simple hero shape, and there we go. Simple cursor design right there. I'm gonna fill this in with white because reasons. Because I'm gonna make this kind of like the Mac mouse. And there we go. So there we go with a basic cursor. Let's see if it shows up here. Oh, okay, it's okay. It's really high compared to everything else. So if I could see the cursor in where I am, that would be good. Okay, right up there. I'm gonna size this down so it's kind of like the cursor of like OS cursor kind of size. Yeah, let's see. But yeah, if I were to compare it to like actual game cursor, or even better, Linux cursor. Hold up. I'm gonna compare sizes for cursors and stuff, so it's like big enough but not too tiny. Alright, so I got a kind of garbage screenshot of my actual computer desktop thing. As you can see, about the same size as the default cursors of the Linux kernel. So yeah, it's probably going to show up a little bigger on most displays, so it's about pretty good. So yeah, let's get back into it, and let's get it programmed in. Probably going to make that a small bit bigger, maybe when we get the actual version of it done, so it's kind of similar in size to the 400 by 800 that Visualized by default runs in. So yeah, let's see. So now I've got to figure out how I'm going to get cursors even in there. What I'm thinking is I'm probably going to have, what I'm probably also going to do is I'm also going to reuse the borders of the boxes for the pause menu. In fact, let's just copy this one over here. I'm going to copy two of them, but I'm going to change how it is. Because we're not going to be putting a shop in, I'm thinking I'm going to replace it with settings instead. So yeah, so let's just get So let me just copy over some of these. Let me just copy over everything. If the game will let me. And here we go. So there's our little border area. I'm just going to copy it over, just kind of make it easier on myself. Make the rat's nest of code that this already is less of one. And I'm just going to... And I'm also going to bring over the big title screen one with the... And I might bring over the empty one. But I might make it a little bigger here. So there we go. I'm just going to make an empty texture here so it's transparent. And there we go. We've basically got it. We're going to just change that resume. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so that's our play button. I should also probably simulate it with an actual with it being actually on the 10x10 grid. So let's just do that. We'll move a moving box one of the moving boxes that we have for the sky, because it's going to be the exact same thing in the end. So there we go. And of course it falls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a normal box under it, but I'm going to set it to be unmovable, indestructible, and just permanently there. But maybe hidden, because it might show up in the FOV of everything else. So movable, destructible. So it's only going to be solid, and it still fails to support the box, probably because the box can fall backwards in this case. And if I can get to it, I see it. I just need to be able to get to it. And there we go. Now it's not really falling. We'll be back in there for getting in supports. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move everything down here and move it down like about 5 so it's in line with our 10 pixel thing. And there we go. Let's make our moving box a little bigger, and and there we go, a little taller, and it covers the entire screen. And our next thing we gotta do is change the title so it says visualized, and boom, there we go. It's visualized in GBG. We've got a title screen, I guess. Let's fix this up a little. Let's make it kind of like the original. The original, we had the title in the dead center, but it just doesn't really work out in the design if you think about it. So I'm just going to have play, and instead of shop like in actual visualized, this is going to be settings. Now we do have a gear here, which I don't know if I'm going to import into it. We have this little gear icon, so might import that instead and probably have it up to the top left center, I guess. And you know what, I'll probably do that. Let's get back into it. But for now, we're going to make it like every other one. But I'll make it a little squarer here, because this is only temporary. Because this is the only thing that's really temporary about it. And let's just do settings. Settings might be a bit of a thing to deal with, but... And there we go. Okay, maybe it's a little big for how it should be here. There we go. There's our settings button thing. Let's bring back this thing this little texture temporarily and set it to, and set visible to false. Eventually it's not going to have text on it at all. And it's probably going to be a normal box eventually. But yeah, so now we just got to get the texture for the mouse dealt with. Alright, so I started to work on the cursor. So what I did do, I kind of basically set it up. So I set the mode for movement to speed in this case. All of this stuff, I've disabled it as it stands. And yeah, and basically we've linked our little texture to it. We've got all of our XYZ things to deal with now. So I don't think it'll hurt to have it where up, down, left, right will be there. So here we go. So basically we'll see what this does. It might be a bit fast because I did try doing this before, but it might be a bit fast. Also, I'm going to invert the axes because, yeah, because the way I have it right now, it'll be like totally backwards from how it should be. So there we go. See how this pans out. And, okay, X. And, well, that's not bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop, but it does track pretty nicely. Don't like how it's behind our little text thing, but we could easily fix that if it will work with us. So yeah, it's a little far behind. So I'll just bring, come on. So I will now bring our little moving box of a mouse forward. I'm also going to shorten it and shrink it so it's more 2D than anything else. I'm also going to put it in the dead center, so this way, there we go. And yeah, now it just, unfortunately, now it's kind of moving along, and yeah, that's a problem. Another thing is I might bring it back to being solid as well, because this way, if it hits an edge, it doesn't really become a problem. And thankfully, because I've brought it out a bit, what I can do is I can have a bunch of invisible boxes that I can just trap it with alongside the borders, and hopefully the collision won't mess everything up. But yeah, there we go. So there we go. So yeah, so now it just falls, which is a bit of a concern that I have. I'm also going to bring this down a bit more because, yeah, it's below the play button, and yeah, there we go. So yeah, we just need to fix that in the physics department, and we just got to constrain it. We've got to get it to not rotate somehow. So I'm going to give it a free slide, I think. I think we'll try a free slide connector. It still has a rotational fall kind of thing. It still spins a bit, which I'm not really too happy about. I don't know, I'm going to have to look at it. I'm just going to have to figure out how to basically get it to not spin at all. Another thing I might do is that I might remove the X and Y axis stuff from these boxes because, yeah, see how that runs. And doesn't move, which is kind of concerning, but kind of makes sense at the same time because I think it calls for another box. It's like, I'm going to have it anchored at like the 0 point for, and yeah, there we go. We kind of have it, but it's not moving it like that. It's just kind of moving around and kind of being kind of a version of the left stick. This would do good if you were trying to program in a stick calibrator, or trying to make a replica of what a controller would look like, and trying to make some kind of like button tester kind of program for GBG, but this wouldn't be good for a mouse cursor, so I've got to deal with that in physics. So yeah, definitely something for me to ponder on my own terms. We got pretty far. We've now got a title screen. I'm probably going to add in touch support because, you know, with this being on the Switch and being a somewhat official, being a semi-official Switch port of the game, yeah, we've gone pretty far, and yeah, so it's gonna be it for today's video. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. Any thoughts about the game that I featured at the start of today's video? But yeah, that's mostly what I've got for today's video, and bye.